Wow, Rusty Bucket saying something positive about Russell Westbrook? He's never done that before, except I have. And I have multiple times, and I pretty much have only been positive for the past couple of years, but I never made a video about it specifically and how my opinion has changed since those infamous videos I made in my earlier years of YouTube, so I figured that I would do that today. Kinda sucks that my biggest videos about Westbrook are probably going to be the negative ones, but oh well, here we are. As for what inspired me to make this video now is, well, there was a horrible list put out by CBS Sports on the top 15 point guards in the NBA today, where Russell Westbrook was ranked as the 13th best point guard in the league. I have believed for a good bit now that Russell Westbrook is underrated after being pretty firmly in the overrated camp for my first couple of years on YouTube. As for what changed, well, it's not even necessarily my opinion on Russell Westbrook, rather it was the general consensus opinion flipping too far in the other direction to where it felt like an overcorrection of how good Russ actually is. So let's talk about why I believe Russell Westbrook is underrated. Before I continue on with this video, about 60% of the people that watch these videos over the last couple of months are not subscribed. It's actually more than half at this point. So if you are new to this channel, please subscribe. I am doing nearly daily NBA content at least 3 days a week over here. And with the season starting up, you're gonna wanna be subscribed for coverage of that. Also drop a like on this video. There's a reason why YouTubers ask you to like the video. It helps it do better by a large margin. So I'd really appreciate it. First, I think we should just start with that CBS Sports article, as I mentioned earlier, or that list. I don't know if there's a coinciding article, but I'm just looking at the list. Jamal Murray, Kyle Lowry, John Morant, Ben Simmons, and Drew Holiday. I think Russ is definitely better than all of them. And after that, I'd personally take him over CP3, and I go back and forth with him and Trey. And when I made a top 10 point guard list not too long ago, I went with Russ over Trey, but honestly, I'm more leaning towards Trey's side of things now, but I don't think the difference is that astronomical. I'm not gonna go over every player here and why I think Russell Westbrook is better than them, because I think there is a generalization that I can put on the names above Russell Westbrook and as to why CBS Sports put them over Russ. I think it is the same flawed logic that made me a bit overcritical of Russ in the past that ended up making CBS put him as low as they did. And that is the ease of building around or fitting a player in with a roster and conflating that with being better. I don't know if I said conflating fully there, but conflating is the word I was going for. To put it simply, with the nature of his flaws, just about every other player on that list, just about, fits better on just about any other team. Using Kyle Lowry for an example, he's gonna fit a lot better than Russell Westbrook on any basketball team. And I don't think many people would argue with that. Kyle Lowry is gonna space the floor, he's a really good defensive player, he's a great playmaker, but that does not mean that he is better than Russell Westbrook just because he is more portable. He is a better player on most teams fit-wise, but he's not a better player. Cut that out, that line didn't make any fucking sense. To conflate being a better fit with being the better player is extremely flawed logic, because like Klay Thompson is a better fit than 99% of NBA players throughout league history. Hell, he's a better fit on any team than Steph Curry is. Steph Curry, you have to account for his poor defense. You don't have to account with poor defense of Klay Thompson, but that doesn't really matter because it's a matter of fit, not who's better. A 3-and-D player fits on any basketball team, regardless of what other talent is on the team. And Klay happens to be the best 3-and-D player of all time. But that does not mean that Klay is one of the 15 best players of all time or something like that. Just being able to fit well is not the only thing in the game. Kyle spaces the floor and plays defense. Drew Holiday plays great defense, is a better shooter than Russ, obviously, and is more than happy to not really shoot the ball when he doesn't need to. Jamal Murray is a great shooter who spaces the floor. He's a pretty damn good shot creator and an underrated defensive player. All of these guys are gonna fit on an NBA roster easier than Russell Westbrook, regardless of the other talent on the team. The players ranked above him, save for Ben Simmons, fit on any other team better. They fit better, they are more portable, which is the term that a lot of people like to use, which just means, hey, put this player on any roster, it's gonna work out. However, while I'm sure you can definitely rely on those guys more consistently and they fit easier, Russ has the highest ceiling of any of those guys there, save for Chris Paul. And not only does he have that ceiling that is higher than them, but he gets there consistently. Sometimes he goes way lower than their floor, but he's also way higher in the ceiling department. Russ is going to have those bad games, and often awfully timed bad shots, the defensive mistakes, the bad playoff moments, the games where his lack of shooting is going to harm the team's offense significantly. However, he's also going to have multiple games where he single-handedly carries his team to wins, games where he drops a 30-point triple-double without breaking a sweat, games where he is the engine of a great offense, probably in a hectic and hard to understand way, but a great offense nonetheless. And often an offense that's going to be difficult to actually figure out. Look at like Russell Westbrook with the Wizards last year. There was a lot of talk about how the Wizards needed to figure out how to play with Russell Westbrook. And in the first half of the season, they struggled as a result, but once they figured it out, they were really good. That's like the perfect demonstration, honestly, of the good and the bad of Russell Westbrook, because once you get him in the right position, he can take you far, but he also can be that detriment at times. It's really a matter of the circumstances. So that's really why these players are ranked over Russ, for the highs and lows of that. But the high that he brought to the Wizards is more than any of those other guys that I mentioned can provide. And that's what I think gets lost on people with Russell Westbrook. And I think it's the same thing that made me a little bit too critical of Russell Westbrook in the past. The negatives of Russ are very, very, very clear, and they stand out so significantly that sometimes it feels like that's all there is. But it's extremely important to recognize the good that comes with him too, because as frustrating and obvious as those negatives are, they do not come close to outweighing the positives. I almost made this video back when the Lakers actually traded for Russell Westbrook, specifically after I made my video talking about that team and how that fit would work, because so many people in the comments were calling the move bad, and really a lot of the reasons why they were calling the move bad to me seemed to stem from just not thinking he's as good as he is. As I said in the Lakers video, what Russell Westbrook brings to that team is not derived from the seamless fit, as we all well know, but rather that he is going to make it easier for LeBron and AD, especially an old LeBron, to really not have to try that much in the regular season, and it also gives them a serious third option in the playoffs. Russell Westbrook is going to be the main factor in many wins for the Lakers this season, and it's going to be one of the main reasons why they are one of the best teams in the West and a team that can win a championship. And sure, there's also going to be terrible Westbrook games. That's what comes with him. But stop looking at just that. It's not the full picture. In the past, I did not feel as though the flaws of Russell Westbrook were credited enough in terms of the overall player he was. It felt as though the scope of the conversation was so much on the positive end of the spectrum that the negative was ignored. But now the script has completely flipped. Now that Russell Westbrook is less obviously fantastic as he used to be, now it's flipped to the other direction, where the negatives, which are a part of his game and I felt were not talked about enough, are now talked about way too much, and the positives are those things that are not mentioned enough with Russell Westbrook. To see the bad as the only thing that comes with Russ is just simply wrong. And in the past, I harped on it too much, and I'm not apologizing to you for that. I'm apologizing to myself, or not really. I don't know how to phrase this. Like, I just don't think I was correct in doing that. However that comes off, I don't know. But now especially, it feels as though the script has just completely flipped, and I think that's why Russell Westbrook is underrated at this point, because the negatives of him were harped on for so long that when the positives were not as positive as they used to be as he got older, not as much of a freak athlete, and just his overall game not as great as it was back in like 2017, now that's all people see. And that's a mistake. So Russell Westbrook is underrated. Shout out to Rudy for editing this video. Again, go check out that. But that is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.